When I finally stopped trying to understand everything with my mind, something extraordinary happened. The noise began to fade, and in that quiet, I felt something awaken inside me, something I couldn't explain, but I could feel. It was faith. Not the kind that needs proof, not the kind that waits for signs, but the kind that lives in silence, that moves when everything else stops. And that's when I realized faith doesn't come from believing. Faith comes from remembering. It's the moment when the brain, the heart, and the soul finally breathe at the same rhythm. Science calls it neurocoherence. When you breathe slowly, when you let go of control, the parts of the brain that produce fear and anxiety begin to rest. The prefrontal cortex lights up again, the area that gives you clarity, intuition, and the ability to see beyond logic. In that moment, your brain literally opens space for the invisible to act. I used to think power meant control. Now I know that true power lives in surrender. Because faith is not closing your eyes and pretending. Faith is opening your heart and allowing. When you trust, your nervous system changes. Your heart rhythm becomes coherent. Your breath deepens. And your brain starts to release the same chemicals of love and peace: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin. They create a new frequency inside you, a frequency that attracts everything that matches peace. That's why, when you quiet your mind in the morning, the world starts to respond differently. It's not magic. It's biology. Your vibration changes the way people, opportunities, and ideas connect to you. Every thought you have sends a signal to your body. Every feeling sends a signal to your environment. When both align, the invisible begins to move. That's faith in motion, the bridge between what you can see and what you can't. So, this morning, I invite you to try something different. Don't rush to fix your life. Don't wake up chasing answers. Instead, take a deep breath and let yourself be still. Feel the air entering through your nose, the expansion of your chest, the warmth in your hands. This is where faith begins, not in doing, but in being. Ask yourself, what if everything I want is already moving toward me, but I'm too noisy to hear it? Because faith is not waiting, it's receiving. And to receive, you must be open. You must be quiet enough to notice. When the mind rests, the brain awakens. It begins to perceive what it once ignored: intuition, synchronicities, inner guidance. That's why the greatest breakthroughs never happen in chaos. They happen in calm, in silence, in faith. You can't think your way into abundance. You can only feel your way into it. Because abundance is not something you reach, it's a state you remember. And your brain, when calm, remembers everything your soul already knows. So, every morning, before checking messages or thinking of what's missing, I close my eyes and repeat silently, I'm safe. I'm guided. I'm connected. These are not just affirmations, they are commands for the nervous system. They tell the brain it's okay to relax. They tell the heart it's okay to trust. And when those two align, the invisible begins to organize reality around you. Faith activates the power you can't see. It reorganizes your chemistry, your focus, and your field. It transforms fear into signal, doubt into direction, chaos into order. So, take one more deep breath with me now. Inhale slowly. Hold for a moment. And as you exhale, Imagine every bit of noise leaving your body, every worry dissolving, every fear softening. Now, visualize a golden light forming in the center of your chest. It expands with every breath. It connects your heart to your brain, your mind to your energy, your faith to your purpose. This light is not imagination, it's awareness. It's the biological signature of calm. And from this calm, abundance starts to flow. Not because you forced it, but because you allowed it. The moment you let go of control, life begins to collaborate with you. The right ideas appear. The right people arrive. And you realize that the universe never stopped listening. You were just too loud to hear the answer. So today, I choose silence over speed, trust over fear, presence over control. Because I've learned that when I stop trying to force life, it flows through me. When I stop fighting for proof, the evidence finds me. When I stop chasing peace, peace becomes who I am. This is how faith activates the power I can't see. And once it's awakened, it never sleeps again. When I understood that faith was more than belief, that it was a biological state of coherence, I began to feel how everything inside me was connected. My thoughts, my heartbeat, my breath, all of them were speaking the same language. And that language was trust. When you wake up in the morning and enter this silence, your brain shifts. The noise that once controlled you, the worries, the comparisons, the rush, starts to fade. And something else rises in its place, awareness. Awareness is not thinking. It's observing without judgment. It's allowing everything to exist exactly as it is, without needing to fix it, without needing to name it. And in that acceptance, the energy that was trapped in resistance becomes movement again. Science shows that the moment your mind moves into acceptance, your nervous system begins to regulate itself. Your vagus nerve sends signals of safety through your body. Your heart synchronizes with your breath. And this harmony produces a frequency that reaches beyond you. That's why you can walk into a room and people feel your energy before you say a word. Your presence speaks louder than your voice. It's electromagnetic, measurable, real. Faith changes your frequency, and your frequency changes the world around you. So, I started to treat silence not as absence, but as presence. Every time I breathe, I imagine my cells remembering what peace feels like. Every breath is a reset, a return to my natural rhythm. I no longer pray for things to happen. I align myself with the energy that makes them possible. Because prayer is not a request, it's a frequency. It's not asking for something external. It's remembering that the source of everything is already within me. That's the secret behind abundance. It doesn't arrive from the outside. It awakens from the inside. And it begins with coherence, when what you think, what you feel, and what you do finally move in the same direction. When your inner world becomes ordered, the outer world reflects that order. This is what the ancients called manifestation and what science calls neuroplasticity. Your brain rewires itself to match the energy of what you focus on with calm and consistency. Faith is the bridge that allows that rewiring to happen. Because every time you choose trust over fear, you're training your brain to open new pathways, the ones that lead to clarity, creativity, and confidence. You literally change your neural architecture through trust. That's why stillness is not weakness. It's power. The power that doesn't fight the current, it becomes the current. It doesn't control life, it flows with life. So, right now, as you listen, let this be your practice. Breathe in faith. Breathe out control. Let the inhale remind you of your connection with the invisible. And let the exhale remind you that surrender is not giving up, it's giving space. Feel the subtle difference between trying and allowing, between effort and alignment. The moment you stop trying to force life, it begins to organize itself around your calm. You don't need to chase abundance. You just need to match its frequency. Because abundance is not a reward, it's a resonance. It vibrates naturally with everything that is whole, peaceful, and present. So, every morning, before the world wakes up, I take a moment to return to myself. I sit in silence. I breathe into the center of my chest, and I imagine a golden light expanding through my body, connecting thought to breath, intention to heart. This is my morning reset. And as that light grows, I repeat a simple truth to myself. I am guided. I am capable. I am connected to the infinite intelligence that sustains everything. You don't need to see the path to walk it. You only need to trust that each step you take in peace builds the ground beneath your feet. That's what faith does. It creates structure in the unseen. So let the mind rest. Let the breath lead. Let faith do what logic never could. Because the brain may analyze the world, but it's faith that brings it to life. The more I practice this every morning, the more I understood that faith is not a destination, it's a rhythm. It's not something you reach once and keep forever. It's something you breathe over and over until it becomes who you are. Every morning, I return to that rhythm. I open my eyes and feel the silence before the world starts moving. I let that silence touch me, fill me, remind me that before any noise, there was peace. And that peace is my home. When I sit in that calm, I imagine my brain as a vast sky. Thoughts come and go like clouds, but they no longer define the weather. Because now I know I am not the storm. I am the space that holds it. The more I trust this stillness, the more life begins to organize itself around it. People respond differently. Opportunities flow with less resistance. Even challenges start to feel like conversations instead of battles. Because faith changes not only how I see the world, it changes how the world sees me. In silence, I can finally hear what matters. And what I hear is not instruction, it's invitation. An invitation to live from presence instead of pressure, to act from alignment instead of fear, to love from wholeness instead of need. The science of faith is simple. What you focus on with calm emotion becomes your reality. Your brain records it, your heart amplifies it, your body broadcasts it. That's why fear multiplies when you feed it, and peace expands when you choose it. When you live with this awareness, you stop chasing miracles because you become one. You start noticing that the invisible is always working for you. The message you needed appears at the right moment. The person you were meant to meet crosses your path naturally. And you realize life has always been synchronizing with your state of being. That's why the greatest prayer is not please, it's thank you. Not because everything is perfect, but because gratitude tells the brain that perfection already exists inside the process. And when the brain believes that, the heart follows, and faith becomes effortless. So right now, as you listen, take a slow breath with me. Inhale peace. Hold it gently. and exhale everything that doesn't belong. Let it go, all the tension, all the doubt, all the noise that kept you from hearing your own voice as you breathe. Imagine that golden light returning, stronger now, warmer, more alive. It starts in your chest and expands through your arms, your face, your entire field. You are not just imagining light, you are remembering it. Because this light is who you are when nothing blocks your awareness. Faith is not something you learn, it's something you uncover. It was always there, beneath the rush, beneath the fear, beneath the endless need to prove your worth. It's the quiet confidence that whispers, "You're already enough." And when that truth settles in your body, the search ends. You no longer chase purpose, you express it. You no longer demand signs, you become one. You no longer pray for love, you emanate it. That's how faith activates the power you can't see. Not through effort, but through alignment. Not through striving, but through surrender. Because when your mind rests, your heart leads. And when your heart leads, the invisible responds. So as this moment comes to an end, carry this stillness with you into your day. Let it guide your words, soften your thoughts, and shape your actions. Let it remind you that abundance, clarity, and peace are not goals. They are your natural frequency when you return to coherence. Take one last deep breath. Inhale the calm. Exhale the need to understand. And whisper silently to yourself, "I trust what I cannot see. I am guided. I am light." This is how faith begins to move through you. This is how the invisible becomes visible. And this is how every morning you awaken the power that has always been yours. Every time I return to this practice, I feel how faith changes my entire perception of reality. The world no longer feels like something happening to me. It feels like something happening through me. And that simple shift changes everything. When I live from this awareness, I don't need constant validation. I no longer measure my worth through results or approval. Because I know that what truly creates is not the action itself, it's the energy behind it. And when the energy is faith, every action becomes alignment. I've noticed that faith has its own rhythm, gentle but unstoppable. It doesn't rush, but it never stops moving. It flows quietly through every thought, every heartbeat, every word I speak with presence. Faith isn't a sudden miracle, it's the accumulation of small moments when you choose trust instead of tension. Science calls this neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change with repetition. Spirit calls it devotion, the heart's ability to love with constancy. Both are the same thing. Because each time you breathe consciously, you're teaching your body a new truth. I am safe. I am guided. I am not separate. This truth begins to shape your life in ways logic can't predict. The right doors open. The right people feel drawn to your energy. You find yourself at the right place, at the right time, doing what feels natural instead of forced. And you realize this isn't coincidence, it's coherence. The universe doesn't respond to effort, it responds to energy. That's why control exhausts you, but surrender energizes you. The more you release, the lighter you feel. And the lighter you feel, the higher your frequency rises. It's not about escaping the world, it's about vibrating in harmony with it. So I started to let go of the need to plan every detail. I learned to replace the question, how will this work? With what energy do I want to send out today? Because when I focus on energy, the form takes care of itself. The path becomes clear one step at a time, and that clarity feels like grace, subtle yet powerful. Faith taught me that life isn't testing me. It's training me to remember my own strength. Every pause is preparation. Every silence is instruction. Every delay is protection. Nothing is wasted when you trust. And trust feels different in the body. It softens the jaw. It opens the chest. It slows the breath. It's not an idea. It's a state of being. You can feel when you're in faith because your entire system relaxes. You expand instead of contract. You create instead of react. That's when you know you're aligned with something bigger than yourself. That invisible current, that golden light, begins to move you forward effortlessly. You don't have to chase anymore. You magnetize. You attract what resonates with your peace. So, as I sit here in this calm, I remind myself, I am both the creator and the creation, the dreamer and the dream, the signal and the receiver. Faith is what merges them all into one experience of wholeness. The more I practice this, the more real it becomes. It's not imagination. It's biology meeting divinity. My brain fires differently. My heart beats differently. My life feels different. Everything slows down just enough for me to see that I was never alone in the process. And now, I wake up each morning with a quiet knowing. I don't need to make things happen. I just need to stay connected to the state where things happen naturally. That state is faith, calm, coherent, creative. So today, as you listen to these words, let them sink deep into your body. Let them become your rhythm, your breath, your focus. Because faith is not something you wait for, it's something you choose, moment by moment. And every time you choose it, the unseen begins to take shape around you. Take a slow, full breath. Feel your chest rise. Exhale and imagine your energy spreading gently into the world, soft, golden, infinite. You're not sending hope. You're sending coherence. You're sending faith in motion. And in that flow, the invisible starts to glow, not outside of you, but within. That's how miracles begin. Not by force, but by frequency. Not through fear, but through faith. Because when you are faith, everything you touch begins to bloom. As I sit here, surrounded by the quiet I once ran from, I realize this silence isn't empty. It's full of answers I was too busy to hear. Faith taught me that stillness is not the end of movement. It's where true movement begins. Each breath I take now feels sacred. Each exhale a release. Each inhale a remembrance. Because faith is remembering what the noise made me forget, that I was never disconnected from the source that created me. The more I trust this, the softer I become, but also stronger. Strength isn't pushing. Strength is standing still in calm certainty when everything else is changing. That's the kind of power you can't see but can feel radiating from within. And that's what this practice is all about. Faith activates the power that was never gone, only hidden beneath fear, doubt, and urgency. Every moment of awareness peels another layer away, until what's left is peace. Pure, steady, unshakable peace. Science explains it as coherence, the alignment of brain, heart, and emotion. But to me, it feels like home. It feels like remembering who I truly am before the world told me who I should be. And when I live from that truth, life flows differently. There's no more chasing, No more proving. Just allowing. Just being. This is where faith becomes embodiment, when belief turns into biology. When your words, your thoughts, and your actions vibrate in this same frequency, that's when abundance stops being something you attract and becomes something you emanate. So now, every morning, I begin again. I close my eyes. I place my hand on my chest, and I whisper, I'm here. I'm guided. I trust the invisible. That's all it takes to reset the brain, the body, and the field around me. No pressure. No force. Just presence. And maybe that's the greatest secret faith has been trying to teach me all along. That the power I was searching for was never somewhere out there. It's the quiet current running through everything I am. It's the golden thread that ties thought to creation, intention to manifestation, and heart to universe. When you touch that current, even for a moment, you feel it. The mind softens, the heart expands, and the whole world feels possible again. That's not illusion. That's remembrance. That's alignment. That's faith made visible. So, if you're listening now, take one final breath with me. Inhale the calm. Exhale the doubt. Let your body feel light, open, and alive. You don't need to chase what's meant for you. You just need to rise to the frequency where it already exists. Because the invisible responds to your vibration, not your effort. Faith is not about waiting. It's about becoming. Becoming the energy that creates. Becoming the calm that heals. Becoming the light that guides. That's how faith activates the power you can't see. Not someday now. Because every moment you choose presence, every breath you take in peace, every thought you infuse with trust, you're reprogramming your brain to align with creation itself. And that's where all miracles begin, not in the sky, not in the future, but right here, inside the stillness of this very breath. From this moment on, I don't just believe in faith. I am faith. And the more I remember that truth, the more the invisible begins to shine through everything I do. So, take this calm with you. Carry it into your morning, your work, your words. Let it shape your day with grace. And remember, you don't start the day anymore. You awaken inside it.